Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Joe Flash, and yes, this is my Mii character for the Nintendo Switch. Looks hopefully a lot like me as much as I could get it. This was the closest I can get to making it looking like myself, Joe Flash, as you can see. But that's not the reason why I'm here today. I'm not here just to show off my Mii character. I'm mainly here to show you something a little different. This is something I've never really done for my YouTube channel. Well, actually, I kind of have, but I mean, it's going to be kind of complicated, but hold on, I'll tell you in a minute. So this is my Mii character, and earlier today, this morning, I decided to make new Mii characters. I usually like to make WWE superstars, but I decided to try something different. Make Mii characters I've never made before. I decided to make Mii characters of all five former members of what used to be called the biggest boy band in the world, even though there was only 5 members of the group. I mean, it's now BTS that's being called that because there's like 7 guys, but I don't know. But basically, they used to be that way, and pretty much what I'm referring to is One Direction. And yeah, I know, it doesn't really exactly look too much like all the members, but I'm not really good at making, real life human bees and me characters, I mean, I do that with WWE Superstars in a while, and a lot of them I don't really get them too well, but some of them I do kind of get close enough well, but I decided to do One Direction because they're now my new #1 favorite band, even though the guys are no longer together, but they've been split apart since 2015. Well, Zayn left the band in 2015, and there was only 4 of the guys, and then eventually when they had their last appearance on the X Factor, then they all split apart after that. And then they focused on them having solo careers afterwards. So, I don't know, I thought maybe today, maybe I show you what I did. So basically I was working on this a few minutes ago, and I did it this morning too, as well. Pretty much been working on it almost all day. I mean, I didn't really do it, I tried to do it at school as well, but I during PE class when I had lots of time to be on my Nintendo Switch to do it, and this was the best I can get, so I looked up. Well, I mean, this is not really what the guys look like today. I mean, they have facial hair like Zayn, for example, and Liam Payne. Definitely Louis Tomlinson kind of does, and Harry Styles a little bit does, and Niall Horan's kind of gotten some a little bit too. So yeah, all 5 former members, Harry Styles, Zayn Malik, Niall Horan, Louis Tomlinson, and Liam Payne. Now, when I was looking through One Direction throughout the years that they've been having, I was kind of actually more of a fan of One Direction from 2011 when they were like, well, they made their debut in 2010 on the X Factor, but in 2011 was the year where they would kind of start getting their names heard, and then they quickly would become a pretty popular boy band. So I decided to do that version because why not? So I tried my very best to look up images of all 5 members of One Direction on Google in their 2011 and got them as close as I could, and obviously a lot of you guys are probably not gonna like it because it really doesn't, but trust me, look, making human beings and me's is not really much of my thing, but I like doing it because I don't know, it keeps me entertained, so I just thought I'd try it, do my very best. I just try to believe in myself and all that. So this was the closest I can get, and that's the result. But I'm going to go through each and every one of them at a time and give you a little preview to see what I did with them and everything and how I tried to make it look like them. Now, before I do that, I want to discuss on which ones are probably the hardest and which one was the easiest. I'll go ahead. I mean, I wanted to wait till later, but I'm going to go ahead and say it now so I don't forget. Out of all of them to be the hardest one to make, it would definitely have to be Harry Styles because it was really hard for me to find the proper hairstyle that he had in 2011. I was almost going to think about choosing the one that I have for Liam Payne, but it's kind of a little too short, so I don't think people would probably like that too much. So I kind of used this awkward one I just found. It's not really as much of his hairstyle, but I figured since it's long and it's kind of close enough, I just thought I'd try it. Yeah, and Harry was definitely the hardest. Harry took me a lot more time to make than throughout the rest of the members, so Harry Styles was definitely the hardest one. But the easiest one, to my surprise, the easiest one to make was actually Liam Payne. He was the last one I made, and it didn't exactly take me too long to make Liam, to be honest. It took me like almost a minute or two. So Liam Payne was actually the easiest one. You know, I didn't really think it was going to be easy making Liam Payne because I was almost going to think about doing the version of him from next year or something, you know, when he cut his hair massively short and started growing a little facial hair and everything. So he kind of looked like a totally different person at that time, but as I said, I just couldn't resist from One Direction in 2011 being my favorite version of the guys, even though they've always been the same guys, but you know, just in 2011 from them getting their names hurt was just my favorite year for them. So I just wanted to try doing the 2011 version of Liam as well. For every single one of them, I wanted to. But surprisingly for Liam, it didn't take me too long to make, to be honest. The hair was not really all that difficult to find because when I was making Harry Styles and I originally had the hair that I have for Liam, I thought maybe this could actually be Liam's hair maybe this could actually work for Liam's hair, and surprisingly I actually thought it did, and the eyebrows were kind of like something like that and everything. Like I said, I looked at the image plenty of times. I zoomed it in to make sure I'd be able to get a closer look, and the eyes, nose, mouth, and everything. And surprisingly, Liam actually took me almost like a minute or two to make. So Liam was actually probably was definitely the easiest one out of all the rest of the members of One Direction to make. And I'll discuss that in a minute. I'm going to go through each and every one of them one at a time. So let's go ahead and look at Harry Styles real quick. And I did try to get their full name in, but unfortunately it only has like 10 letters or spaces, so I can't fit the whole name in, but it's fine. So for Harry Styles, for each and every member of One Direction, I stick to this chin because they didn't really have too many like round features or like tall necks or anything, so for each and every member of One Direction, I kept their all necks like this or face like this, you know. Doing Harry was pretty tough because his eyes were, I couldn't tell if they were green, to be honest, so if they're not green, I'm sorry. I couldn't see the eyes too well. And for the hair, as I said, this was the one I was going to do. Like I said, I was originally going to do this one that I have for Liam, but, I mean, it looks maybe just a little bit like it, but it's too short, so therefore I didn't really like it. This was the one I had for him at first after when I got done creating him, but then I just decided to change it, and I found this one to be, I don't know, maybe the closest I could find for Harry's long hair, so I stick to that one. The eyes, I don't know, for the eyes I just liked it being closed, because I don't know, sometimes when Harry smiles in the camera and stuff, his eyes are kind of like that. The eyebrows were kind of almost something like this when I found them, and the nose, I don't know, for the nose it just didn't look all that big or small, and it didn't look like it had too much of a shape feature, so I just kept his nose like this. And I was originally going to have the smile for Harry being like this, but I decided because, I don't know, I'm kind of more of a fan of when Harry smiles. I like it when he does it like this, where he's not opening his mouth, he just has his lips all in a smile position, you know. Kind of for example, when I was watching the video from when One Direction were disguising themselves, were trying to pretend to be wax figures in a museum to surprise some young girls as their super fans, you know. That was in 2012, I believe, actually, the next year. Yeah, it was. But it was great. I don't know, when I looked at Harry's smile, I don't know, I just kind of was liking the smile for that version. So Harry Styles was definitely the hardest to make. I originally had his color to white, but I decided to change it to black because I don't know. I figured maybe it might be more fitting. I don't know. I couldn't really tell. It doesn't really matter what the color is, to be honest. But I chose it that way. So yeah. I didn't really do too much to all members of One Direction's body and weight as well. They're all kind of almost like the same size. They're kind of like medium size. You know, they're kind of a bit muscle bound and all that. You know, but I mean maybe not really muscle bound. They don't really got too much of abs or anything. I mean maybe they do. I mean I think Harry probably has had before, but you know, it's hard to tell. So this was the closest I could get to Harry. So yeah. So I'm sorry if you guys don't like it. Like I said, I'm not good at making these sort of Miis, but I tried my very best. So you got to give me credit for something. So that's Harry Styles. Next was Zayn Malik, who was like the second hardest to make after Harry, to be honest. I was working on Zayn this morning as well. Now, for his skin color, I want to get to the skin color first, because I originally actually had it like this. Now, when you're looking at it on camera, as you're looking from right here on my video and looking at it on the screen on the TV, it kind of actually looks exactly like his skin color. But when I have it like this, when I'm looking at it right now from both the phone and the TV screen, it just looks a little bit too bright. But when I had it off the Switch, though, it actually kind of almost resembled it. I mean, I don't know if Zayn's got really bright skin or not. I'm not really an expert, so I don't really know how it goes. He's not really all that brownish, so I didn't want to give him any brown skin, because it's not really exactly that brown. It's kind of almost like tan, I guess. It's just really unbelievable when I'm looking at it on the TV and through this camera. It just looks more like his skin color having it in this version, but then when I have it in this one, it doesn't. It looks too shiny. But then when I have it on the when I'm playing it on the actual Switch, which I have it set up right here, it just looks more this skin color that I have it set up right now just looks more like it. I don't know if I should go back to the other one or not. Maybe I might actually. You know what? I'm just gonna go back to this one. And for Zayn Malik, I didn't really care about his color. I just stick to brown. You know what? No, you know what? I'm going to go back to the other skin color. Sorry, guys. I'm going to go back to his other skin color, the brighter one. I don't know. Sorry. I don't mean to disappoint you guys if I am, so sorry. I feel like it's closer enough, even though it doesn't really look like it to me, but never mind. Alright, next in line is Niall Horan, who is the blonde-haired fella from the One Direction. I mean, his hair color was actually brown, but he dyed it blonde pretty much. Well, he no longer has it like that nowadays. He's now got it brown again. And my friend Naomi actually had a magazine this today at school where he was featured on. I was kind of surprised. I was like, hey, that's Niall Horan, you know? Because now that I'm a fan of One Direction, you know, I obviously can't really miss that. So for Niall was the third hardest because getting his hair was probably one of the most difficult parts. I couldn't really have a torn between this one and this one, but I was almost going to think about selecting this one, but this one doesn't exactly really have, it's kind of like not really exactly the closest to looking like Niall's hair, so I stick to this one. It's kind of closer enough. For his eyes, they looked almost, I actually thought they were almost similar to something like this, and I couldn't really tell what the color was either. I forgot to mention that for Zayn's, but it's fine. They were looking like they were almost green or something. I couldn't really tell if they were like, I couldn't tell which one to select. Like, I had a torn between, this one and then green. But I stick to green for now. I don't know. Maybe if I take a look again, maybe I'll switch it, but I'm sticking to the green for now. For the mouth, I wanted to make him smile, and when I looked at Niall smiling, he kind of had, like, a pretty small smile, kind of like this, you know, like almost like if he was trying to close his lips when he was smiling. So when I try to get Niall's smile, I just had it like this version where you see the teeth, and I just shrunk it all the way. You know, it's normally like this when you start it, but I shrunk it all the way where it's much more smaller. And for the nose, it was kind of tough, but I kept the nose like that, because I don't know. For the nose, I figured that maybe this one would probably work close enough, and yeah, that was it. And for the eyebrows, like, I figured his eyebrows were kind of almost something like that when I looked at it, so I kept it that way. And for his color, I just kept it white. I mean, like I said, it doesn't matter what color you give all members of One Direction, but mostly nowadays, I used to kind of see Niall wearing white a lot back in the day, so I kept him in white, so yeah. So there's Niall. So far we got Harry, Zayn, and Niall, and we still have him in a little. And now we'll talk about Louis next, and then I'll get to Liam afterwards, and then that'll be it. So we got Harry Styles, we got Zayn Malik, we got Niall Horan. Next is Louis Tomlinson, and then last will be Liam Payne. So let's go ahead and look at Louis Tomlinson, shall we? Now, Louis was tough as well. I mean, it was really kind of tough because, you know, looking at his hair was a bit tough because he kind of almost had it like Justin Bieber hair at first from 2010 when he debuted. Kind of almost like Liam. If you ever looked at One Direction in 2010, Liam actually used to have the Justin Bieber hairstyle as well, which looked more like Bieber's compared to Louis, but, you know, I didn't really want to do that version, even though I felt like maybe he would have been looking better like that, but I decided to do, like, the way he kind of started looking, where it looked like it was, like, having spikes and everything. Now, it was pretty hard, because I was actually almost going to think about giving him, like, the Bieber hair, which was kind of this one that looks similar like it, but I figured it doesn't really make Louis look too much like himself, so I kept it this way, which kind of makes it look a little more similar, even though he had, like, like, tip, like a little bang tip kind of like going through his eye or some sort, but unfortunately I couldn't find one like that. Now, if you're so disturbed about what Louis is, or about what you're probably maybe most disturbed mostly about Louis' Mii character is probably the eyes, because as you can see, the eyes have little black marks underneath. Well, I didn't really want to use this one, to be honest, but apparently when it comes down to the eyes itself, minus the marks, the eyes kind of just almost looked similar enough, because Louis kind of had like his eyes a little bit closed, sort of, so that was just the best I could find. And Louis kind of did had like little marks under his eyes, you know, like kind of when you don't get enough sleep or some sort like that, so I figured, you know what, maybe this will just have to work, even though I don't like it, because Louis kind of did have a little bit of, like, lines under his eyes before when I looked at the image. His eyebrows were kind of something like that. They were almost, like, curved a little bit upwards, like a circle almost. Not really a circle, but yeah. For the nose, it was almost looking, like, similar to, like, a shape like this. And for the smile, I kind of gave him the same one that I was using for Niall, except I didn't make it as small as Niall's. Like, here, I'll show you. I didn't want to keep it this way, what I used for Niall. I decided to increase a little bit more because it looked like he's had a little bit of a bigger smile than Niall. So for Louis Tomlinson, I gave his smile a little bit bigger compared to Niall Horan's. And yeah, and I'm not really gonna go to the body, because they just all kind of look a bit the same to me. You know, they got almost like the same body mass and all that kind of stuff. So you know. And I was originally gonna have Louis wearing white, but I decided to wear black because I didn't really want most members of One Direction wearing white, because I already had like when I was looking at them, when I realized I had like Louis, Niall, and Liam wearing white, I felt like that was too much white for One Direction. So you know, I just want to give them at least a bit of a different color. You know, I thought maybe I'd just give Liam and Niall white, Louis and Harry black, and then for Zayn just brown for some reason. I don't know why I chose brown for Zayn, but never mind. So, yep, that's Louis. Or at least that's how I was able to get him. Alright. So, yep. Harry, Zayn, Niall, and Louis. And last but never least, Liam. So, yep. We've gone through every single member of One Direction but Liam Payne. So, yep, first was Harry Styles. Second was Zayn Malik. Third was Niall Horan. Fourth was Louis Tomlinson, and now we come to fifth and last, Liam Payne. Kind of the best for last to me, to be honest, because he was the easiest one for me to make, to be honest. Surprisingly, I don't know if you guys really can see it too well. I'm probably going to guess you don't, but if you take a close look, don't you think this Mii of Liam Payne actually looks a bit close enough like him? Somebody tell me. Maybe not a lot of you are probably going to think that, but surprisingly to me, when I was making Liam, I was actually impressed that it actually almost looked like him from 2011. I really didn't exactly want to do him in the 2011 version, even though I was more of a fan of One Direction in that year, but because, you know, nowadays Liam's known for the shorter hair and he's kind of got facial hair, so I probably was going to do that, but I decided maybe I'll give 2011 a shot, and if it doesn't work out, then I probably would have to do the short hair and the facial hair. But surprisingly, when I was able to make Liam in 2011, where he had like that bushy hair almost of some sort, when I was making Liam, I was very, very impressed with myself. I actually thought this actually looks almost like Liam. Maybe not all of you think so, but if you take a little bit of a look at Liam Payne here, of this Mii of Liam Payne for that matter, doesn't it at least resemble him just a little bit? Or close enough? I mean, go back. Hold on. Like, let me go back and look at all the rest of the members of One Direction. Every other member of One Direction kind of really doesn't exactly look too much like them at all. But if you take a look at Liam Payne, don't you think he at least looks the closest out of all the rest of the members? I mean, you gotta agree with me. Liam kind of looks almost exactly like the way how he looked in 2011 when I was making him compared to when I was making Harry, Zayn, Niall, and Louis. So you gotta probably have to give me credit for Liam Payne. Liam was really just easy. Like I said, it took me almost like a minute or two just making him, so it took me less time making Liam than it was making all the rest of the members of One Direction, Louis, Niall, Harry, and Zayn. And basically, I chose this hair for him. If I were to do his short hair, though, I probably would have chosen like maybe something like this, probably, but I really wanted to try to see if I could get his 2011 version. And basically, this was the hair I originally was going to give for Harry Styles, but I decided to change that, so... But then when I started remembering of how when Liam had that bushy hair in 2011, I was actually starting to realize that maybe this hair could actually work out for Liam. And surprisingly, I actually thought it did. And then when I was starting making his face and everything, the eyes, nose, and mouth, I was actually kind of starting to get impressed. It actually was looking like Liam. His eyebrows were kind of something like this, where, like, at the very ends here, they're kind of bigger and, and all that. His eyes were kind of almost closed like this. His nose was kind of almost something like this when I was looking at the image of him. And his smile, I don't know, I just thought maybe I'd give him this kind of smile. So Liam was really the easiest one out of all the rest of the members of One Direction I made. I was really, really impressed. Like I said, after when I showed you in the main menu screen, after looking at all the members of One Direction, Harry, Zayn, Niall, Louis, and Liam, you have to at least agree with me that Liam probably is the closest one that I was able to get to compared to all the other members. Like, Harry Styles was definitely the hardest one, Zayn Malik was second hardest, Niall Horan was third hardest, and Louis Tomlinson was definitely fourth hardest. Well, maybe not definitely, but, it doesn't matter, to be honest. It's kind of a tiebreaker between Niall Horan and Louis Tomlinson from them making them. But Harry Styles was definitely the hardest, number one hardest, and Zayn Malik was second, and it's kind of a tie between Niall Horan and Louis Tomlinson for third. So, it's kind of a tiebreaker. But for Liam, he's definitely last, because he was the easiest one to make for me. So, you've actually got to give me a little bit of credit here, to be honest, because it actually kind of almost looks like Liam. Maybe you guys might not exactly see it, because either you're just haters, or maybe you can't really... I don't know, maybe because without an image of Liam, maybe you can't really, see it too well. I don't know how you edit where you could put an image up here. If I had an edit where I'd be able to put an image of, Liam right next to him, I probably would be able to make it more better to be able to compare it and see how close it looks to him. But if you do get to look at him, though, maybe after when you watch his video, maybe you should look up a picture of Liam Payne in 2011, and then maybe if you screenshot this picture probably when you're watching this video, then maybe if you look at it closely, maybe you'll start to realize it. And Liam Payne, I think his eyes were brown. I'm not sure if they were. They looked like they were brown in the image when I saw him, so probably, yeah. So pretty much I kind of almost seemed, maybe not to you guys, but to me I kind of seemed to have almost nailed Liam Payne in this one. His hair is kind of close enough. The eyebrows is kind of very close. The eyes, the nose, the mouth. So, I guess, I can't really say I hit a home run, but I'm probably just going to say maybe I did hit a little bit of a home run with Liam. There was no doubt about it, Liam was definitely the easiest one to make. I've already said that numbers of times, but I'm just reminding you all because, So Liam Payne's definitely the number one that would deserve my top number one, easiest and closest one that I got to make out of all the rest of the members of One Direction. So, yep, that's Liam Payne. I would get more excited. I would actually be more excited about this, but my parents are actually already sleeping, so I can't really wake them up being too loud, so yeah. So there you have it, folks. There's all the five former members of One Direction. Harry, Zayn, Niall, Louis, and Liam. It kind of was very great. It kind of kept me entertained a bit, when I was making these guys, they were all great. And like I said, I've already gotten my vote where I said that the hardest one was Harry Styles and Liam Payne was the easiest. I mean, I have to be honest, making Liam was a little bit hard at first because I just didn't know how it was going to go, but then when I just started realizing how much it looked like him, then it started to get easier for me making Liam. So, you know what I'm saying? So, yep, all 5 members of One Direction are here, folks. Harry Styles, Zayn Malik, Niall Horan, Louis Tomlinson, and Liam Payne. This was actually kind of fun to be able to explain to you guys about how I was making them and stuff, so, you know, I might actually put this on my Instagram later, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll get people to maybe actually vote and see who it is, you know, maybe I want people to actually guess who these guys are, and so hopefully if they're not, if any of my Instagram followers are not watching this video, hopefully they won't be able to cheat by looking at this video to be able to know, like, which member is which of who I made, so I'm gonna go do that right now. Maybe after this is over, I'll put each of these images on my Instagram story, and I'll have people guess or try to guess which member of One Direction is this Mii character supposed to be, you know? Or then maybe a little bit, and then maybe after that, maybe I'll grab an image from, like, where I found all members of One Direction 2011 and try to compare it to how it looked as a Mii, you know? I mean, obviously they're not gonna look anything like them. Well, maybe except for Liam, but you know. So never mind. So I hope y'all enjoy this. I kind of feel like I actually want to ask one of my teachers to show this to the class, even though it's not really important. But, you know, because just to take a little time break, you know, especially if we have a little free time or something. I don't know. I just feel like maybe this would be entertaining, even though not everybody's interested in One Direction. Actually, you know what? Maybe I could even ask Mr. Richardson if he wants to see this, because Mr. Richardson's actually a fan of One Direction. I bet he probably would like to see how I did with them. Hopefully he doesn't get too offended if he doesn't think it looks like them. Like I said, I tried my best, you know, so... But hopefully Mr. Richardson will give me credit, you know. So that'll be it for today, guys. I'm actually getting tired of talking now. I'm sorry, I've been kind of talking to myself for quite a bit of a while when I was making these One Direction Mii, so I'm going to go call it for the day, and I'm probably going to go to bed, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike, give it a thumbs down, which I guarantee there'll be some thumbs downs, which it's alright. And, I don't know when I'm going to make another video, but hopefully I'll make one soon. But until then, this is Joe Flash, signing off, and have a good day, or good night.